Yes, hello again. Welcome back to Classic Dirtbike TV as we take a look at the racing highlights from the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club's Round 6 event that was held here at Scratchmere Farm in Penrith. So we're going to go straight into race 1, which of course is the vintage or pre-1968 class. Quite a good turnout for these old classic vintage bikes. And as they leave the line, a cracking start there by Peter Dobinson on that Rickman Triumph Twin. Kenny Harper's in second position, but Liston Bell looks like he's now shot straight into the lead as we begin at lap 1. And so as you can see, a nice wide open stubble field for this round 6 event here at Scratchmere Farm, so there's plenty of scope here for the riders to get those old vintage dirt bikes opened up and maybe even get them into that sometimes elusive top gear. So we're looking at our race leader on lap 1. It's number 98, Liston Bell. Now it looks like Peter Dobinson is in second position, number 41. Kenny Harper is in third. Fergus Moody is in fourth. And number 28 there is Mike Walker. And Mike was telling me that his father used to race this old Matchless way back in the day. So here's your race leader. It's still Liston Bell as he comes round on lap 2. I think Liston's out on the big Triumph Twin this time round. Looks like Liston's got some of that track marker tape wrapped round the back wheel. Second position here is number 118, Kenny Harper on his lovely CZ 2-stroke number 41. And third place there is Peter Dobinson on that beautiful Rickman Triumph machine. And thanks once again to Peter for organising some sponsorship for my trip to Penrith. It certainly helped out with the fuel costs, etc. So thanks once again to Peter Dobinson. But here's your race leader, number 98, Liston Bell, as he makes his way around on lap 3. And as you can see, the track conditions here at Scratchmere Farm are absolutely perfect for this kind of vintage scrambling. And you may have already noticed that although the weather here is nice and dry at Penrith, it was very dull and overcast with black skies surrounding the track, and rain was certainly in the forecast, but as it turned out on the day, it stayed dry for most of the time, which subsequently made the track very dry and grippy, and it made for some good racing from all of the associated classes. So we're looking at Peter Dobinson, number 41, who is currently in third position on his Rickman Triumph Twin. As we head back to our race leader, number 98, Liston Bell. Liston very quick on this old Triumph, as you can see. I'm pretty sure this is another one of those Rickman framed bikes that Liston's riding. And as you can see, the track is already beginning to cut up even after just the practice and this race 1, but still very dry here at Penrith. And number 112 there, that's Andrew Johnson on his old Dot Scrambler, another old British bike, and certainly one of these old machines that you very seldom see on racetracks these days, but a lovely old Dot there of Andrew Johnson's. Number 118, Kenny Harper, who is currently in second position on his CZ. As we take a look at our current race leader on his last and final lap of this first race of the day, number 98, Liston Bell. Normally Liston's younger brother Lewis would also be taking part in this race, but unfortunately Lewis is still on the subs bench due to an injury he received at a previous race meeting. But normally Lewis would be giving his brother a good scrap here in this pre-1968 class, so hopefully we'll see Lewis back next year at the Scottish Classic race event. So we are looking back at number 41, Peter Dobinson. Andrew Johnson just coming through again on his old dot scramble, but a good little scrap here between Fergus Moody, number 122, and Peter Dobinson. But Liston Bell has already crossed the line to take the win in this first race of the day. Kenny Harper is in second place, and this is the battle for third and fourth, but it looks like it's going to be Fergus Moody who crosses the line in third, with Peter Dobinson coming through in fourth. So next up we go into race 2, of course, and this is the pre-1984 250s class, and as you can see, a good lineup of 250s for the second race of the day. Our race starter this time round is Stuart Riddle, but it certainly looks like it's number 26. I think that's Peter Carr on the CR250 Honda Red Rocket, who's got the early start in this race. Graham Smith is in second position on the IT250 Yamaha. So this has been a very good start here by number 26, Peter Carr. As you can see, these Honda Red Rockets from the late 1970s are still very quick bikes on these kind of tracks. So Peter's made a very good start on his 250. And it's just great to see these old Red Rockets still being competitive and still racing on these kind of tracks. Number 15 looks like he's moved up into second position. I think that's Clark Davidson, and Clark's also riding one of these CR250 Honda Red Rocket machines. As we take a look at the rest of the pack making their way up the hill. So here's your race leader on lap 2. It's number 26, Peter Carr. And you may remember we had a look at some of these CR250 Honda Red Rockets in my previous paddock video, and it just goes to show just how highly competitive these old 1970s Red Rockets are, even in these modern times. Number 15 there is Clark Davidson. Looks like Clark's already on his way to try and make up some ground on Peter's Honda Red Rocket, but a nice dice going on here between these two Japanese 250s. Graham Smith is in third place there on his IT Yamaha. But it still looks like Peter Carr has quite a decent lead over second place man, Clark Davidson. So Peter looking very good at this stage for a win in this first 250 class race of the day. But it's still number 26, Peter Carr, your race leader on the 250 Red Rocket. Second is Clark Davidson, also riding a Red Rocket. Third is Graham Smith on the IT Yamaha, but a very good scrap going on here between these three. Number 140 in the KX 250 Kawasaki is Daniel Edgar. Number 67 is Michael Tweddle. So a good race going on between these three riders, and I must say it's good to see one of these old KX 250s back racing on the track once again. So as we look to the far side of the racetrack, it's still number 26, Peter Carr, who leads this man here, number 15, Clark Davidson. And as I said, both these riders riding these Honda 250 red rocket machines. But you certainly couldn't ask for much better racing conditions than we have here at Penrith. The track is bone dry and super grippy as we take a look at second place man Clark Davidson. Third now is Daniel Edgar on that lovely KX 250 Kawasaki, number 140. I think that's a 1979 bike, but fantastic still to see these old KXs still racing on the track. Graham Smith going through there is in third position. Number 67 is in fourth. That's of course Michael Tweddle, as both riders cross the line to begin another lap. As we take a look at number 43, that's Andy Mallock on his lovely Montesa Capra. Looks like Andy's dropped the bike at one point. But this has been an excellent ride here by this man here, number 26, Peter Carr. Peter's more or less led this race right from the start gate, so Peter well on his way to a possible first win of the day. But we certainly have quite a few races to get through at this round 6 event. Hopefully there will be 3 parts to the racing highlights, and we hope to show you every single race that went down on the day. So we're back with our second and third placed riders. Number 140 there in second position is Daniel Edgar on that KX 250 Kawasaki, and it's still Clark Davidson, number 15, who is currently in third position. And the next time they come round to cross the line will be, of course, the last and final lap of this first pre-1984 250s class race of the day. So we're looking at Daniel Edgar there, number 140. Clark Davidson is still currently in third position, so this has been another good ride here by Clark Davidson in third as he goes through to begin his last and final lap of this race. As we take a look at number 197, that's Chris Trotton on his lovely twin shock KTM bike, another rare machine that you very seldom see on the racetracks these days. A nice old KTM there of Chris Trotton. But here's your race leader as he heads towards the checkered flag, but it looks like Daniel Edgar is putting in a challenge towards the checkered flag, so this is going to be tight as these two battle for the win in this 250 race. So it's currently still number 26 Peter Carr, but Daniel Edgar is certainly having a go on his KX 250 Kawasaki as they have just a couple of turns to go before the checkered flag, but it's still currently Peter Carr who is in command of this race, and it looks like Peter's going to hang on to that position to take the win. So it's Peter Carr who is going to win this race with number 140 Daniel Edgar in second position. Okay, so next up we're moving on to the combined pre-1977s and pre-1989 125s. Another decent lineup of bikes for this race. So as they leave the line, it looks like Peter Maxwell's made a fantastic start on his old 1976 400 Maiko. So it's Peter Maxwell who hits at the front of the pack as they begin at lap 1. So your race leader on lap 1 for the pre-77 part of this race is number 217 Peter Maxwell. This is a bike, of course, that we had a look at in my paddock video, the previous video that I posted, and we had a quick look at this Michael of Peter's, and looks like Peter needs to get something done with those front forks. They look a bit soft and spongy to me, but it's Peter Maxwell, your race leader. Second is number 59 in the 125 class. That's Ewan Davidson on his KX Kawasaki bike. And number 254 there is John Miller. And as I mentioned in my paddock video, this is a bike that you can see racing at Farley Castle next weekend when Mike McClurty races this in the 125 class. So we're back with our race leader on lap 2. It's still Peter Maxwell, number 217 on the AW 400 Michael twin shocker. Once again, another one of these old German Michael machines. Second position and currently leading the 125 part of this race is this man here, number 59, Ewan Davidson, on that lovely little KX Kawasaki bike. Number 61 just making his way through there is Julian Holmes, riding that YZ Yamaha machine. Number 254 again coming through is John Miller, giving his little CR125 Honda a shakedown prior to its big race debut at Farley Castle. So we're back with our race leader, and currently leading the pre-77 part of this race. It's number 217, Peter Maxwell on the 400 Michael. Peter looks like he's got half of the track marking tape wrapped around that front wheel, but still going well on the 400 Michael. Ewan Davidson is still in second position. Number 61 is Julian Holmes on the YZ Yamaha. Now number 74 there, unfortunately, is one of the riders that's not known to me and is not even listed in the entry form for the day, so I can't really identify number 74. So at the front of this pack is still number 217, Peter Maxwell, with Ewan Davidson there on the KX Kawasaki, currently leading the 125 part of this race. So we are looking at Ewan Davidson there, number 59. And that particular bike there of Ewan's is a 1985 KX125. I'm pretty sure that I did a short profile on this bike on my YouTube channel about a year ago. So a lovely little KX125, this number 59 bike of Ewan Davidson's. But it's still Peter Maxwell on the 400 Michael who's leading the pre-77 part of this race, and Ewan Davidson is also leading the 125 part of this combined race. And the number 681 bike there, the yellow YZ Yamaha, that's John Kennan on his YZ125 as he pops a little wheelie before making the turn to start his last and final lap. So here's your race leader as he heads towards the checkered flag. This has been a good race here by Peter Maxwell, who has led right from the start gate. So Peter's on his way to win the pre-77 part of this race, if he can just manage to keep those wheels turning with all that plastic marker tape wrapped around the wheels. So as he heads towards the checkered flag, it's a win for Peter Maxwell, number 217 on the Michael, for the pre-77 part of this race, and it's going to be Ewan Davidson who crosses the line to take the win in the 125 class. So next up we have race 4, and this is the first race for the pre-75s up to and over 300 cc. And as you can see, it's still very dull and bleak at this point. The rain was forecast, but thankfully it never ever appeared. So as the riders get ready to leave the line, it's a cracking start there by Stuart Roden, number 20, on that big 4-stroke CCM, but it looks like Kyle McClure has jumped into the lead on his 400 Myco bike. So as the riders head up the hill for the first time, it looks like it's still Kyle McClure who is your race leader. I think Kyle's riding what looks like possibly a 74 or 75 400 Myco. Second place now is number 98 Liston Bell, and number 115 there was Jake Gowan on that very quick bull tackle. So it's Liston Bell, your race leader. Second is Kyle McClure. Third is number 115 Jake Gowan, and number 55 there is Keith Barnes on that Alan Clues 4-stroke CCM bike. So it's good to see Keith back out racing one of these CCMs once again. So as we pick up our race leaders, it's still number 98 Liston Bell who leads number 115 Jake Gowan on the bull tackle purse sign. Third place is number 84, that's Kyle McClure there on the 400 Myco. And Liston Bell's already, of course, secured a win here at this round 6 event in the pre-1968 class earlier on, and it looks like Liston's on his way again as he crosses the line to start lap 2. And as I said, this is of course part 1 of possibly 3 videos that I'll be posting from this round 6 event at Penrith, and every single race has been covered. So if you are taking part in this event on the day, then you should be able to catch a glimpse of yourself in action on the track. So we're currently looking at our second placed rider, number 115 Jake Gowan on the bull tackle purse sign, being chased by this man here, number 84 Kyle McClure. But it's still Liston Bell, your race leader, as he comes round to complete another lap. Number 115 just making his way through there is Jake Gowan in second place, Kyle McClure in third, and once again we have Keith Barnes there in fourth on the big CCM. And as I said, it's good to see Keith back on a dirt bike once again after a bit of a break from racing. And Keith, of course, is the son of legendary Cumbrian scrambles racer, the great Mike Barnes, who was one of the country's best CCM riders way back in the day. So you can see that the CCM thing certainly runs through the family. And again, you can see that Keith is also very quick on these old Alan Clues 4-stroke race bikes. And so as our race leader begins his last and final lap of this pre-1975 class race, it's still number 98 Liston Bell who is currently in the lead of this race. We are taking a look now at number 125, that's Ian Stainton, who's coming round to start his last and final lap. Ian, of course, again riding one of those CCM 4-stroke race machines. So as our race leader comes round to take the checkered flag and his second win of the day, it's number 98 Liston Bell who's going to win this race, and number 115 Jake Gowan is going to cross the line in second. So that now brings us on to race 5, which is the first race for the big bikes of the pre-1984 over 250s class, and as they leave the line it looks like Ryan Glendinning has the early run on his big 480 Honda, and it looks like it's Jonathan Bethel in second position on his big 540 Husqvarna. So as we look to the top section of the track, as you can see the sky still quite dark and bleak, but thankfully the rain never appeared as we check out our race leader at the front there. It's number 175, that's Ryan Glendinning, and you may remember we had a look at Ryan's 480 Honda in the paddock in the previous video, so here's the proof that this is a very quick machine as Ryan comes around to complete lap 1. So there's your race leader, Ryan Glendinning, number 175. As we take a look at the rest of the chasing pack making their way across the finish line to complete lap 1. And if you look to the top side there, the bike just coming into shot now is number 327. That's Stuart Muirhead on his 1980 250 Michael. But we're back with our race leader, number 175, Ryan Glendinning, riding one of those big 480 Hondas. Second position there is number 46. That's Jonathan Bethel on the big Husqvarna. Now Jonathan Bethel, of course, is the son of the late and great John Bethel, who was a very good rider in his own right back in the day, and was also a huge fan of everything relating to the old Alan Clues CCM bikes. And in fact Jonathan himself up to now could normally be seen riding a CCM bike, but it looks like Jonathan's now moved on to these big 4-stroke Husqvarnas, and as you can see he's pretty quick on them as well. So that's Jonathan Bethel there in second position on the big 540 4-stroke Husqvarna, and just behind Jonathan there is number 155, that's Andy Barnes. But we're back with our race leader, number 175, Ryan Glendinning, as he makes his way to complete another racing lap. So this has been a good ride here by Ryan. He's already opening up a very good gap between himself and second place man Jonathan Bethel. And of course we have plenty races to get through here at this round 6 event with the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Racing Club. Each of the classes of course have 6 races. We have 3 for each class before the lunch break, and then a further 3 after the lunch break for the age related races. So you certainly get good value for money with the Scottish Classic Club. So here's your race leader as he comes round to complete another lap. It's number 175, Ryan Glendinning, on that very rapid CR 480 Honda. As we catch up once again with our second placed rider, it's number 46, Jonathan Bethel, on the big bruiser of a 4-stroke Husqvarna bike. Not the lightest of machines to throw around a racetrack, but certainly not short of horsepower, these big 4-banger Huskies. Number 156 just making his way through, that's David Bateman, and David's riding what looks like a big XR 500 Honda. But it's still this man here, number 175, Ryan Glendinning, who is leading this pre-1984 class race. Looks like Ryan's got a bit of a decent gap between himself and Jonathan Bethel in second position. as we take a look at number 155 again. That's Andy Barnes. It looks like Andy's also riding one of those big 480 two-stroke Honda rocket ships. So as our race leader heads towards the checkered flag for his first win of the day, it's going to be Ryan Glendinning, number 175, who's going to cross the line in first position. So this has been a cracking ride here by Ryan, almost led from the start gate. So as he crosses the line to take the win, it's Ryan Glendinning who is the victor of this pre-1984 class race. And here is your second place man just coming round to take the checkered flag. It's going to be number 46, Jonathan Bethel, in second position. Okay, that brings us to the second race for the pre-68s up to and over 350cc. And looks like another good start there by Peter Dobinson. Fergus Moody looks like he's going to hit the front as they begin lap 1. So it looks like it's Fergus Moody on that Faber BSA who is your race leader. Second is Kenny Harper on the CZ, but it's Fergus Moody who's starting to stretch the legs of that B44 BSA engine as he heads up the hill to start lap 1. So it's Fergus Moody, your race leader. Second is still Peter Dobinson. Kenny Harper there is in third position, but it looks like Kenny is going to try and go down the inside of Peter Dobinson into the turn. But it looks like it's still Peter Dobinson in second position on the Rickman Triumph. As we take a look at our race leader as he begins lap 2, it's number 122 Fergus Moody on that quite quick BSA bike. So it's still Fergus Moody, your race leader. Second, number 118 Kenny Harper. Number 41 is Peter Dobinson on that lovely sounding Rickman Triumph bike. Looks like Liston Bell is now making his way through the pack. I think Liston got left at the start line in this race, so for some reason I don't know why he couldn't get off the start line, but Liston's already making his way through the pack, and he's now up to third position as he looks to pass Kenny Harper for that second placed position. And if these are the kind of bikes and the type of racing that you like to look at here on YouTube, then you may like to consider subscribing to my channel, because throughout the closed racing season we will be profiling various makes and models of vintage classics for you to take a look at. So in order that you don't miss out on future video postings on my channel, then do your best to hit that subscribe button. So we're back with our brand new race leader, number 98 Liston Bell. Hasn't really taken Liston too long to come through the pack after being left at the start line. Number 122 is Fergus Moody there in second position. Kenny Harper is also in third there. Kenny, of course, is one of the organisers and committee members who put on that fantastic Drumlandrig Castle race weekend each year. So Kenny is one of the hard-working committee members who bring that event to Drumlandrig Castle. Number 41 is Peter Dobinson, who's currently still in third position. Number 246 there is Ian Ward. Ian's riding his 250 Villiers machine, and number 66 there is Jim McQuillian on his big BSA. So we're back with our race leader once again, number 98 Liston Bell. Liston's already got quite a good lead here as he comes round to begin his last and final lap of this second pre-68 class race of the day. Liston, of course, has already got 2 wins under his belt, so he could be on course to take his 3rd win of the day. So that's your race leader, number 98, Liston Bell, as we take another look at number 112, Andrew Johnson, who is riding that quite rare British-made Dot Scrambler. You certainly don't see many of these old Dot race bikes taking to the track, even in vintage or classic race events, so that's quite a rare machine, that of Andrew Johnson's. But here's your race leader as he heads towards the checkered flag. It's going to be win number 3 for number 98, Liston Bell, on that what looks like a Rickman Triumph. So Liston's done very well in this race, considering he was left at the start line when the pack left the gate. So it's going to be a win for number 98 at Liston Bell. Okay, next up we have the second race for the pre-1984's 250s, and again another good lineup of bikes for this race. And as they leave the line, try and pick up our race leader. Looks like number 26, Peter Carr's made quite a good start once again there in 2nd place. Graham Smith is currently in 3rd as they leave the line. But it looks like it's number 4, 5, 6. I think that's Chris Kirkbride, who is currently leading this race. But having said that, it's now Peter Carr who's overtaking Chris for this lead in this race. It's number 26, Peter Carr, on that 250 Honda Red Rocket. Chris Kirkbride in 2nd. Graham Smith is in 3rd. Number 15 is Clark Davidson, but it looks like it's James Neil Jones who's taken a bit of a fall there. Number 21 on his Honda 250 Red Rocket, but he looks okay. We're looking at number 140 now on the KX Kawasaki 250. That's Daniel Edgar, who looks like he's now made a move on John Kennan. So as we look to the far side of the racetrack, it's still at number 26, Peter Carr, riding that CR250 Honda Red Rocket. I'm not exactly sure what year of bike this is, but it's certainly a late 70s machine, and very quick as well, as you can see. So Peter Carr looking good for a possible win in this race. And if you did have a look at the paddock video previous to this posting, you would notice that there was certainly no shortage of these CR250 Honda Red Rockets in the paddock at this round 6 event here at Penrith. So it's good to see these bikes once again taking to the track. 3rd position there, just going through, is Chris Kirkbride. Graham Smith just making his way through there on his IT 250 Yamaha. But currently it's still this man here, number 26, Peter Carr. But it looks like Clark Davidson is closing in to make a challenge for the lead of this race. You can just see Clark coming into shot there, but it's still Peter Carr with the lead on this race. Clark Davidson certainly looking to make a challenge as he goes down the hill, but he's going to have to go round the outside. But Peter manages to close the door and keep that track position. But certainly a good scrap developing between these two Honda Red Rocket riders, so this could be quite a good race before we get to the checkered flag. But it's currently still Peter Carr, your race leader, with Clark Davidson in 2nd position as they both cross the finish line to begin another racing lap. But these wide open spaces in this Stubblefield race park here at Scratchmere Farm are certainly providing some good racing for these older twin shock race bikes. But it's Peter Carr who is currently leading, with Clark Davidson very close behind in second position as they both head up the hill. But absolutely nothing between these two riders as they make their way back and down from the top section of the hill. So as it stands, it's still number 26, Peter Carr, from number 15, Clark Davidson, but certainly a good battle here for the lead of this race. But it looks like Clark's going to try and go down the inside, but it looks like Peter's went a bit wide into the turn, so it's now Clark Davidson who is the brand new race leader of this race, and Peter Carr is now demoted to second position. So this has been a very good ride here by Clark on this Honda CR250 Red Rocket. And it looks like we may have a change of second placed position riders. It looks like it's number 67 now. That's Michael Tweddle, and I don't know if Peter's maybe made some kind of mistake on that last lap to allow Michael through, but it's now Clark Davidson who leads at number 67, Mike Tweddle. Number 43 there is Andy Mallock, riding his Montesa Capra 250. You don't see too many of these Montesas racing at vintage and classic events these days, but Andy certainly likes his old Spanish Montesas. So here's your race leader, number 15, Clark Davidson. Second is still number 67, that's Michael Tweddle, who surprisingly is also riding one of these Honda CR250 Red Rockets. It's still Peter Carr who is currently in third position, but these guys are going to be crossing the line to start their last and final lap of this race. So as they head up the hill for the very last time, it's still number 15 Clark Davidson who leads number 67 Michael Tweddle. It was looking like Michael was going to have a challenge for the lead of this race here, but it appears to have went a bit wide on the corner at the top of the hill, so that certainly dropped him back the pecking order, but he's still in second position. So here's your race leader, who looks like his tailpipe on his Honda is ready for dropping off there. It's been a bit of waggling, but it's still going to be a win for number 15 Clark Davidson, and it's going to be number 67 Michael Tweddle who crosses the line in second. Okay, we're back to the second race for the pre-77s and pre-1989 125s. This, of course, is race 8. So we're just waiting on our starter, Stuart Riddle, letting the bikes loose from the line. It looks like Peter Maxwell's made another good start on that 400 Michael machine. So Peter Maxwell is well on his way to another good start in this race in the pre-77 part of this group. So it is indeed number 217 Peter Maxwell on the 1976 400 Michael. Remember, Peter won the first pre-77 race in this class, so he looks like he's on to a good start here for possibly another win. Number 59 is Ewan Davidson just going through. John Miller just passing up the hill there on his CR125 Honda. As we take a look at some of the chasing pack making their way up the hill. Number 14 going through there is Brian Hamilton. Number 221 is Damien Crawshaw. Remember, we had a look at these, well, a very brief look at these lovely Suzukis in my previous paddock video. So it's still at number 217, Peter Maxwell, who's out in front in the pre-77 part of this race. And here's the battle for the 125s. It's number 74, and as I said earlier, that rider and bike are not listed in any information I have, so I apologise for not being able to name the rider. Number 59 is Ewan Davidson on his KX 125 Kawasaki. And number 62 there is another rider that's not listed in the programme information, but certainly has Woody written on the back of his shirt, so it looks like he's riding a very nice CR 250 Honda Elsinore in this race. So we're looking to the far side of the racetrack once again to pick up our race leader, and it's still Peter Maxwell on that 76 400 AW. Michael, who's a race leader in the pre-77 part of this combined race. So Peter once again doing very well on that vintage twin shocker. And if Peter can hold on to the lead of this race, he will of course notch up race win number 2 in the pre-77 class. You can just see the front forks on that old Michael bottoming out as Peter came down the hill. Number 74 is in the lead of the 125 part of this race, and as I said earlier, I do apologise for not being able to name the rider because I don't have any information with regards to his number. Number 161, I think that's Aaron Dent on the Honda, just going through. But certainly a very good entry of riders and bikes here at this round 6 event at Penrith, and a big thanks to everybody who made the effort to attend this meeting here at Scratchmere Farm. In fact, I think a few of the riders had travelled from the very south of the country, which turns this event into a trip of several hundred miles for them. So well done to everybody, and thanks for your support of this round 6 meeting. Now it looks like number 161 Aaron Dent is looking to make a move on Ewan Davidson's Kawasaki. So Aaron currently in 3rd position in the 125 class in this race, so Aaron certainly looking to make a move on number 59 for that track position. Now it looks like Peter Maxwell has some kind of problem with that Michael. Now Peter was in the lead of the pre-77 class, but it looks like he's going to end up with a DNF. Another rider can't get his old Elsinore fired up. It looks like he's certainly got a dead engine. Okay, that brings us back to the second race for the pre-75s up to and over 300cc. This, as you can gather, is race 9. Whoop, looks like Ian Marr popped a big massive wheelie on his CZ there as he left the line, but it looks like it's Liston Bell who has the early lead in this race. And currently in 2nd position, it looks like it's number 115. That's Jake Gowan on that very quick Bultaco Pursang. I think that's a 250 that Jake's riding, so he's doing very well to keep up with Liston Bell's big Triumph twin. So as they make their way down the hill, it's still Liston Bell, your race leader, from this man here, number 115, Jake Gowan on the Spanish Bultaco Pursang. And in 3rd position, it's number 55, Keith Barnes, riding that CCM. And in 4th spot, It's this man here, the youngster Kyle McClure, number 84, who looks like he's riding a 74 or 75 400 German Michael. So as we catch up with our third placed position rider, number 55, Keith Barnes. Looks like Keith's riding what looks like a 1974 CCM bike. These machines, of course, made famous by the late great Alan Clues, who basically took a stock B50 four-stroke engine and tuned it for more power, and made these fantastic British four-stroke racers. So Keith Barnes currently doing very well on his Alan Clues CCM. Kyle McClure is still in fourth position. Now, this was a bizarre incident that happened with Jake Gowan, number 115 in the Bultaco, but just as he crossed the finish line, his Bultaco engine appeared to just explode, and ended up giving Jake a broken toe, but hopefully he's okay, and will get his Bultaco back up and running once, of course, he does a complete rebuild. But I did have a look at the bike in the paddock at the lunch break, and the crankcases were well smashed up on that little Bultaco, so hopefully Jake will be okay and he'll get his Bultaco up and running soon again. Now, Jake was currently running in second position, but because of that incident, that now promotes this man here, number 55, Keith Barnes, into second position behind Liston Bell. And here we have your race leader, number 98, Liston Bell. Liston, of course, has already got 3 wins under his belt so far, but he's certainly on course to add to that. But this is another very good ride here by number 55, Keith Barnes, on that big 4-stroke CCM bike. And as I mentioned earlier, Keith's father Mike was also a big CCM legend way back in the day. So here's your race leader as he heads towards the checkered flag. It's number 98, Liston Bell. I think Liston's riding the big Liston's riding the big Jawa machine this time round, so it looks like he's left his Triumph in the paddock for this race. So it's a win for number 98 Liston Bell, and here's your second placed rider. It's going to be number 55 Keith Barnes, and in third position it's going to be number 84, that's Kyle McClure. So that brings us round to the final race in this part 1 highlights video. This is race 10, of course, for the pre-1984s over 250cc. Basically, the big bikes of this race event. It looks like Ryan Glendinning is shot from the start line again on that big 480 Honda. It's number 46, Jonathan Bethel, who is in second place. It looks like we've got a couple of fallers going in to turn 2 there. So as we pick up our race leaders on lap 1, it's our Danny Magoo Chandler impersonator, number 175. That's Ryan Glendinning, riding one of those very quick 480 Hondas. And if you're of a certain age, you may remember the great man Danny Magoo Chandler racing one of these big 480 Hondas. There's your second place man, number 46, Jonathan Bethel. As I've said, Jonathan normally a CCM man, but he seems to have changed tack now and went for one of these big 4-stroke 540 bikes. And as you can see, the track is still in fantastic condition. We did have rain forecast, and if you look at the sky there, you can see that it certainly looks like it was going to rain, but we never had any rain on this track throughout the day, so we were quite happy in that respect. But we're looking at our race leader once again, number 175, Ryan Glendinning. It's still Jonathan Bethel who is in second place. Of course, these big 480 two-stroke Honda bikes, perfectly suited for these wide open racetracks here at Penrith. Now this of course is race 10 out of 27 races that you're going to be looking at in parts 2 and 3. So if you're enjoying what you're looking at here, then please make sure that you retune to Classic Dirt Bike TV to see the remainder of all of the racing action. And just making his way through there is number 95. I think that's Gary Sowerby on his 1981 490 Myco. As we are back with our race leader once again, Ryan Glendinning. So it looks like Ryan's got quite a decent lead over second place man Jonathan Bethel at this point, so Ryan could be on course for his second win of the day. As we take a look at, I think that's Mike Foster, number 16 there on the 480 Honda bike, and just behind Mike there, in fact just passing him, is number treble 3, that's Lee Bateman. But it's still this man here, number 175, Ryan Glendinning, who's whoops. Now looks like Ryan's stalled his 480 Honda going into that turn, so we'll see how quickly Ryan can get this big two-stroke fired up once again. But he's certainly lost that track position. It's now Jonathan Bethel who's your race leader, and it looks like number 155, that's Andy Barnes, who's now moved up into second position. And there's Ryan just lost another position to Lee Bateman, but it looks like Ryan's got that bike fired up and running again, so he may still manage to claw back a couple of track positions before the end of this race. But that little incident for Ryan Glendinning has certainly handed this man here the advantage, number 46, Jonathan Bethel, who is now your race leader. So if Jonathan can keep this bike on the track and cross the finish line, he may end up with his first race win of the day. So it's Jonathan Bethel, number 46, your new race leader. And don't forget, if you want to see the remaining highlights from this round 6 event here at Scratchmere Farm, then please make sure that you retune or take a look at parts 2 and 3, which will be posted very soon. So there's Ryan Glendinning just crossing the line, and he's trying to make up a couple of places that he lost during that stall when he stalled his bike at the top corner. But here's your new race leader, number 46, Jonathan Bethel, on the big 4-stroke 540 Husqvarna machine. And I dare say that Jonathan will be very happy if he crosses the line to take the win in this race. So as he comes across the finish line to start his last and final lap of this race, there's your second placed rider, Ryan Glendinning, who is now up to second place, but unfortunately he has quite a gap between himself and Jonathan Bethel, but nonetheless it will still be a decent result for Ryan if he crosses the line in second position. So as our race leader makes his way up the hill for the very last time of asking, it looks like it's going to be a win for number 46, Jonathan Bethel. And don't forget, if you want to see all of the remaining races from this round 6 event, then please make sure that you take a look at parts 2 and 3, which I'll be posting very soon. So it's a win for number 46, Jonathan Bethel, and at number 175, Ryan Glendinning is going across the line in second position.